My blood doth rise in the roots of yon oak. Her sap doth run in my veins. Boundless my soul, like the open sky, where the stars forever have lain. Where the stars forever have lain. My hands hold the weavings of time without end, my sight as deep as the sea. Beating my heart sounds the measures of old, that of love's eternity. That of love's eternity. I feel the tides as they answer the moon, rushing on a far distant sand. Winging my song is the wind of my breast, and my love blows over the land. And my love, blows over the land. My foot carries days of the old into new. Our dreaming shows us the way. Wondrous our fate settles deep in the earth, rising green to bring a new day. Rising green, rising green, rising green to bring a new day.
Welcome all to the rituals of Samhain, that time of the year when we celebrate the end of plenty and the beginning of the cold and winter months. And boy, did nature comply with us this week. This is a time for remembering and for connecting with those that we have lost, who are beloved in our hearts, our chosen family, our bloodline families, our animal families, and the family that is this place and this time. Let us begin by acknowledging that this place is a place that has been inhabited for many thousands of years by the Shoshone, Paiute, Goshute, and Ute tribes. We pay our respects to the elders past and present, and we pledge to ourselves to respect and honor the earth, our mother, through today's celebration. I am the Reverend Lora Young. My pronouns are she and her. And just a moment, a pause here. Yes, we use pronouns here because that is how we are inclusive with one another. She, her, they, them, he, him, ze, they, and all of the wonderful kaleidoscope of opportunities we have to identify our beingness as humanity. So let us also be gentle and kind to one another as we inspire and invoke a new kind of inclusivity in the world. I want to welcome all of you who are here for the first, second, or third time, and those of us who are here joining us in our virtual audience. Thank you for joining us today. We are so glad to have you here for this very special Samhain service.
exciting and new. November 4th, we're expecting you right here. In just 1 week from last night. You haven't heard. We're here to make that right. The auction promises something for everyone. The auction, it's just like eBay, but much more fun. Set your mind on donations. We need lots of stuff we can sell. Share your talents, your passion, your best homemade bread. A plane ride, some jewelry, a quilt for your bed. Or how about a full day on horseback for you and a friend? That last one's true. So think about what you can give. Fill out the form, or we'll come sing where you live. It's love. November 4th, the auction.
And also on that evening, we do have things for your kids to do as well. We'll have an auction downstairs for our young people, which is also shaping up to be very, very exciting. So we hope we'll see you next Saturday. For today's service, this is an intergenerational service where we're inviting all of our families, young people, anyone and everyone to remain here in the sanctuary for the duration of our service. I would love to invite any of our young people, kids or teens, to, we have some new comfortable seating pads that we're going to be using for our sanctuary during our Time for All Ages time. But during our intergenerational services, you are welcome, if you like, to come up, take a seating pad, and sit in the front row, the inner part of our ring, if you'd like to do that. I saw some people just sit down after they heard that part. But you're welcome to come up if you like. If you want a front row seat, grab one of these. And then I also have, I'll come around, I have some activity bags for you to use during the service, since you'll be up here with some things for you to do.
So as we celebrate Samhain, let us dig a little deeper into the land that we are upon. Salt Lake City is a magical place and has been for thousands of generations. It is a magical circle with the canyons and their roaring winds to the east, the desert fires to the south, the Great Salt Lake to the west, and the lush and fertile farmlands and the orchards to the north. I do still eat shredded wheat. At the center of our valley, there are many sites of sacred importance. The beginning of this sacredness lies with the Ute tribes on the crossroads of trade, shared traditions, and honoring of the sacred bond between human, animal, plant, and earth, and the cosmos that we all inhabit together. This valley is also home to many religious traditions, including the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and their temple, which literally lies in the center of our city. Many other Christian and Catholic communities thrive here, as do our siblings of faith across Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Hindus, and the many faiths of the African continent, the global South, and the Pacific Island nations. In this space today, we also acknowledge the Celtic and European roots of Samhain, the indigenous practices of the people of Ireland, Scotland, and the British Isles that were nearly wiped out as Christianity arrived from the Roman empires. We honor all gods and goddesses committed to human thriving and care, paying honor and respect to the divine family of Mother Earth, Father Sky, our brother Sun, and our sister the water. And we recognize that we all embody each of these modes of being in our own bodies in a kaleidoscope of genders, orientations, perspectives, and experiences. We are, as a congregation, committed to the practice of human kindness and loving devotion, to the joyfulness that comes with a life lived well and on purpose. Let us now open this sacred circle by calling the directions. You may all rise if you wish and turn and face the directions as you wish.
We call the spirit of the east, canyon winds, sunrise, enlightenment. Hail and welcome.
To the south, we call the spirit of the south, Utah desert, summer sun, the heat and fire of the will. Hail and welcome.
We call the spirit of the west, Great Salt Lake, waters of the Jordan River, flow of feeling. Hail and welcome.
Facing north, we call the spirit of the north, lush fertile gardens and orchards of Logan and Weber County. Hail and welcome.
And now toward the center. We call the spirit of the center, the rich spiritual heritage of this land, and all the many faiths that have made this place a center of diversity. We come from many different traditions and perspectives, and yet we practice love and justice with a voice that is strong and true. Hail and welcome. And you may say our chalice lighting words if you'd like also. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I invite our children to rise and join me around our altar table. If you have a frog, actually you don't have to hold hands, because if you have a frog, you're going to need to play that. So, children of the younger generations, your role is to call forth the ancestors. This is a time of the year when the veil between the worlds becomes thin, and we invite those good ancestors, those good wisdom, those wonderful grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-great-great-grandparents to come forward and tell us their stories. So, follow John. You're going to play the frogs to bring them forth.
Did you see that book that was sitting here? Did I take it somewhere? Oh, thank you. That's great. Thank you. Do you want to stand up there and do it? Okay, that's okay.
Welcome, ancestors all. We are so glad that you are here with us in this space. You may be seated, children, for our story for all ages.
We're going to use these again a little later, but for now, can you put your frogs back in here? That always sounds so neat, and even though I always know that, yes, these are wooden frogs, whenever I hear them played, and I think about what it sounds like when I'm hearing actual frogs sing their songs,
frogs croaking.
It sounds exactly the same. It is so wonderful. I love that. Thank you all so much. I'm going to hand these back out in a bit. You want yours too? Thank you. Thank you so much. Were there a couple over here too? Did we get them all in there? Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm going to hand something else out to you for our story this morning. Because this morning, those of you who have spent some time with us in our children's chapel downstairs, especially now, oh, thank you so much. I looked and didn't see him at first. Thanks. I'll hand those back in a bit. In our new children's chapel downstairs, one of the things that we have been doing is working on meditation, taking time to sit quietly, to think about things that we might not normally think about while we're sitting quietly. And so to help us do that, we're going to pass out some candles this morning for each of you to hold on to while I read this morning's meditation. If you like, if it helps you kind of focus on a story, I invite you to look at your candle as I'm reading. Or, if you like, you may close your eyes to focus on the story, because the story that I'm going to read doesn't have any pictures in the book. But what I'd love for you to do is to use your imagination to create the pictures for this story that you're hearing in your imagination. Today we are celebrating Samhain, which is a celebration where many of the traditions of Halloween that we have today came from. It's from the ancient Celts and the ancient Gaelic traditions. And so, again, as you hear this story, I invite you to use your imagination to think about what you'd like to think about. Oh, one more. Oh, it was my last one. Oh no, we have many. We were prepared. That's all right. There we go. Nice. Any others who need a candle? Any others who would like one? Yeah, right. No shortage of candles here today. So as you hear the story and as you imagine the pictures, I invite you to sit quietly and hear this story of the earth and its lights. And I would like you to imagine that you are sitting outside in a beautiful garden. It is very quiet and peaceful in your garden. You can feel the fresh, crisp fall air and the quiet that surrounds you. Maybe you see an animal from your past, maybe a favorite dog or cat or bird, or you might see an animal that accompanies you that normally would not come close to you. All of the animals live together peacefully in your garden, and they like being called forward when people enter their special space. The blue of the sky is bright, and the green of the trees swaying their branches and leaves go high into the air. The birds fly about, picking up little twigs, and they return to the comfort and the warmth of trees' branches. There are many lights that come to the earth from many different places. There is starlight, there is moonlight, and the sunlight. All of these lights come to earth to make our lives special, to make us feel warm, to make us feel happy, to make us feel bright, to make us feel special. The sun's light makes us feel warm and protected, and it encourages things to grow on our earth, including us. The light from the moon bathes our world in light and shadow, making a beautiful play as it dances and comes through the trees, and the light lands on our homes and through our windows. The moon is full of mysteries that many people would like to solve. Some people think that maybe the moon is made of green cheese. Some people think that they can see the face of someone living on the moon. I wonder if things really do live there, especially on the far side that we cannot see. All of these lights come to Earth and shower us with their energy. They can make us feel good about ourselves and make us feel good about being alive. Imagine that you are allowing these little fingers of light to come around you and dance around you in the garden. Now stretch out your arms to the sky and try to catch the starlight or sunbeam as it touches your body. The sun's fingers dart away from you and then return, playing hide and seek with you through the trees and the bushes. You can put your arms down. Now the sun is setting, but instead of it just disappearing, you look carefully, because as the sun is setting, you start to see the first stars appearing in the dark sky. You notice that the stars twinkle as though they have a sense of humor and are playing a game of see if you can see me. And now imagine that the moon's gentle glow surrounds you, making you feel light. If you look around your special garden in the moon's light, you may see the garden fairies and elves and night creatures coming out to play. These little creatures like to dance and sing when the stars and the moon shine down, and during the daytime they are busy flying around within the sun's light. Take time throughout your day to wander around this garden in your imagination, or perhaps the gardens in your world, the parks, the playgrounds, all of the beautiful places you like to go and be out in the sun. And when you feel the light, feel those different energies that are around you when you hear this story. Maybe this light makes you feel like you want to sing and dance too. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for just a moment, and then breathe out through your mouths. Once more. And out. You can open your eyes. It's a nice way to settle in for the day. Thank you for sharing in that. If you would all turn off your little lights, and I'll come around with those. A lot of passing things out today. Thank you all. Thank you.
So let us invoke our ritual.
Samhain is a celebration of bringing in the last of the harvest before winter. In pagan practice, it is the end of one year and the beginning of another. It is a time of year when it is believed that the veil that separates the world of the living and the spirit is the thinnest. It is a time for reflecting on the past with gratitude and reflection. We meet within these blessed bounds to celebrate Samhain, the time of passing from one season to the next, passing from the old year to the new, passing from life to death to life. The pumpkins are ripe in the fields as the north wind chills the air. The earth is dark and cold and brown, the earth that was so fair. The wheel has turned full cycle from birth to death at last. And we look back for knowledge from the life that now has passed. The knowledge that is the seed of all we will be and feel. The knowledge that comes from living the turning of the wheel. I'm now going to light, let's see, where is this one? I'm going to light the God candle to welcome the gods to our midst. And I'm now going to light the goddess candle to welcome the goddess to our midst.
All that are gathered here are invited to come forward and see our altar, if you'd like, and to honor your ancestors. If you'd like to light a candle, there are both electronic and actual candles that can be lit on the table. And there are also notes and pencils if you'd like to write a note to one of your beloved, and then just put it back in one of the baskets, and those will be ritually offered through burning after the service today so that the ancestors receive our messages. So I encourage those who are at home to light a candle at home and to enter in the chat box the name of your beloved, and to perhaps hold this thought. What is remembered in your mind and your voice and your heart? What is remembered in your mind, your voice, and your heart lives. Please come forward now and partake of the altar.
In 2014, Sarah Lynn wrote, "Blessings to those who have gone before. I call to the ancestors who lived and died before I took breath, to all the mothers and fathers who created life, who created me. Walk with me tonight." I call to the ancestors who lived and died in my lifetime. My beloved dead, my family, my friends, those who made me laugh and shared in my tears, who shared this journey with me, who shared their journey with me. Visit with me again. My breath is your breath. My bones are your bones. We are all relations. I drink water for you. I take in food for you. Together we light the beacon. Together we stand in the doorway. We call to the recently dead. We offer your names to the air. We offer your names in prayer. All of my ancestors, all of our relations, wait to greet you. Safest passage to each of you. You are loved, you are remembered. Be at peace.
As we pause here in this time of reflection, let me name just a few things for us. I don't want to be a good descendant. I want to be a good ancestor. I don't want to be a good descendant. I want to be a good ancestor, because families are complex and our ancestry can be wild, unknowable, and complex. I am one of the lucky ones. I have ancestral records. I know where I come from. Many descendants of formerly enslaved people in this nation do not have that gift of knowing where they came from and to whom they belong. I name this because this is a unique pain that I can only observe from the outside. It is also important to remember that not every person of color, not every Black person was enslaved, but that all must bear the marks of that. in their day-to-day life. I can draw upon recipes and traditions and a feeling of connection to a place. My maternal side hails from South Dakota and from St. Louis, places I have yet to visit. My paternal side from the Deep South. There is a gift in knowing this. On my maternal side, I can know the desperation of migration and the hardscrabble existence of dry farming in South Dakota during the Dust Bowl, and of the grasping on to military service and education to find a way through for the next generation to do a little better. But I know very little about the land that my grandmother grew up on. And there is a rootlessness to my maternal grandfather who moved from place to place to place throughout his childhood because that's what you did when the rent was late. You moved. These class changes that have occurred in the generations of my family as my family has acquired education on that side remind me of the tenuousness, the fragility of so-called class in this place. There's also a challenge of knowing. For on my paternal side, there were certainly human beings that were enslaved by my family. My family aided and abetted systems of slavery in the South. I'm a direct descendant of Judge Robert B. Taney in the Dred Scott case. I'm a direct descendant of Francis Scott Key, who wrote our national anthem, but also worked very hard legally to sustain systems of slavery in this country. These are all part of my complex DNA. These are all part of what I have to make reckoning with. When I think about my ancestors, I can think about the cookies that we made as a kid at my grandmother's kitchen. I also have to think about the legacies that are given to me by those that did not have goodwill towards others. And so I stand before you, my chosen people, as a terribly complex, wild-hearted, open, and loving human being seeking to make good on that line of ancestry, determined not to be a good descendant, but instead to be a good ancestor. Let that be enough. For the last few years, we have lit a candle for COVID, for the 6.9 million people who lost their lives in the pandemic. And I light that candle again this morning. Throughout the course of this year, as in every year, there are natural disasters that occur as climate change becomes a lived reality for us. There are also wars that break out in Ukraine, in the Middle East, in the global South, and here at home. We may not call them wars, but mass shootings are still an act of terror that is besieging our land. I light the second candle of solidarity for this. And I light a third candle for our Black and brown Indigenous people of color in this community and beyond who daily must endure the legacies of racism and the threat of violence. We mourn with the families and the friends of those taken by these multiple and difficult realities of our world. But we stand committed in solidarity, trusting that our goodwill can and does make a difference as we seek to find solutions to bring about peace. Let us pause now in witness to this as a human people, connected in love and hope for the journey ahead. May the gods and goddesses have mercy upon us. Amen. Let us now call the names of the departed into this space of silence. Speak the name of your beloved. Don't worry if you are speaking over one another, but just offer them and they will hear you. Linda, Dorothy, David, Mandy. I hope to hear the knocking at the door that I have kept closed, though not completely locked. I hope to see the shadows come and go in the window, but only hear the roar of the wind that greets the cold drizzle. I hope to hear knocking at the door, or if not, just a shadow passing by in the window, so that I can speak of my happiness, of how much I miss you. We thank you now, Goddess and God, for watching over us and being with us in our circle this morning, sharing your strength and power, your wisdom and your love. Go if you must. Stay if you will. So mote it be. Let us now have a joyful noise of thanksgiving and blessing for the presence of our ancestors who have joined us this morning. You can do it. Say, yay, thank you for being here. We delight in the memories that fill this space with joy and happiness. The presence offered us here. And now it is time for us to release them back to their places of rest until we meet again. Until we meet again, may all be well now in the past and across all times and planes, places of this vast and wonderful existence. I now call my callers back to release our directions. You may rise if you wish. And we begin by facing north.
We call the spirit of the north, lush, fertile gardens and orchards of Logan and Weber County. Hail and farewell.
We call the spirit of the west, Great Salt Lake, waters of the Jordan River, flow of feeling. Hail and farewell.
We call the spirit of the south, Utah desert, summer sun, the heat and fire of the will. Hail and farewell.
We call the spirit of the east, canyon winds, sunrise, enlightenment. Hail and farewell.
You may be seated. And so ends our Samhain ritual.
This community and our church and its many ministries are only made possible by the gifts you give of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Many of you pledged monthly to support our work, and for this we are grateful. Your gifts help to ensure that we are able to live our lives of justice and love in the world outside. This Sunday, being a fifth Sunday, is dedicated to our Samaritan Fund at South Valley. This fund provides support for families and members in times of need with cash support for food, gas, medical bills, and housing. This fund is fully funded by your gifts and makes a tremendous difference in the lives of those in need. If you would like more information or have a request, please reach out to Reverend Lora. All disbursements are confidential between Reverend Lora and the recipient. Please join me in reading our offertory words. They are printed in your order of service. We are this church. We are its hands, its heart, its voice. Together we share in the wealth of this community and sustain it with our gifts. We'll now accept the offering. For those at home, you are invited to use the giving link in the online order of service. I invite the ushers to come forward.
for all we have received and all we have found the courage to give. May we be truly grateful. Thank you for your gifts for the Samaritan Fund to help those in need in this community and beyond.
Please stand as you are willing in mind, body, or spirit, and join us in our actions as we extinguish our central candle, our chalice. We call the spirit of the center, the rich spiritual heritage of this valley and site of a multitude of faith expressions. Hail and farewell. Join me now in our traditional extinguishing words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, or the energy of action, and we hold each other in our hearts until we meet again.
Please be seated. May the light of love shine upon you, out from within you, and be gracious unto you, and bring you peace. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And let us sing our last hymn and pass out the frogs to lead us out of the sanctuary. Number 1001.
Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to be. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters. They are in the crying grass.
Thank you all for being here this morning. And children, if you would like to gather around the table and blow out and turn out the little candles, you may.